Welcome back to the channel, folks, and to another battle report. Before we get started, I thought I'd maybe just take the opportunity to point out the playlist section on the channel. If you enjoy Flames of War, there's lots of playlists on there. I mean, you can see so many battle reports, over 60 painting tutorials, and I reckon I'm going to be adding about another 4 or even 6 to that in the very near future. So if you've not already done so, check out the playlist section, because you might find a lot of useful Flames of War and other hobby content on there. And if you've not already done so, folks, why not give us a sub? It'll encourage YouTube, the almighty algorithm, to share Flames of War content like this across the wider Flames of War community. Right folks, here we go. Today's game, it's another warm-up match for the UK Nationals. Peter's bringing his Hungarians. He's going to be using Hungarians. He was hoping to be using this list, but the tournament pack said no, you can't use these Zrinyis. You can see during the game and decide yourself whether or not that is the right decision. So I have put together a list of Brits, just lots of tanks, keep it nice and simple, good for a warm-up game. So let's go over, have a look at the list and take it from there. Right, Peter, so Hungarians for mid-war, what have you brought today?
Well, I brought two formations. The first one is my Zrinyis, if that's how you pronounce them. So I've got 3 platoons of 3 and an HQ, and that's the formation for them.
And these guys, what are their stats?
They're aggressive, they are confident.
Fearless, I think that's one.
Oh, fearless, so they're fearless and trained.
Right, and then they've got anti-tank.
Anti-tank 11.
Oh my goodness.
And they've got front armour of 7.
Right, so they're nasty. So you're saying he's got a big debuff in the dynamic points?
Yes, they are, in the book, they've got quite high points value, but I've used the dynamic points, so the value has come down a bit, so I can actually get, I don't think I could have got that formation with the book points. And then I've got a second platoon, a second formation. It's an infantry formation. So I've got 2 small infantry platoons. They've both got an anti-tank rifle. I've got little anti-tank guns, near the 40mm. They don't have the upgrade, basically granite or something.
Steel granite.
Steel granite. They don't have that because they couldn't afford the points. And then I've got 4 mortars.
So they're part of their formation then,
yeah? Formation. This is all formation. And then support, I've got, these are 100mm guns, but they're actually, they're supposed to be 80mm guns.
Right.
And an observer.
Yeah, because what, the 80mm can do smoke? Can they?
No, that's a good question.
I think the 100s can't.
Yeah,
smoke bombardment.
Yes.
And you're probably better just having the smoke bombardment than the 100mm.
Yes, so they're standard because they don't have the 80mm guns.
So this is a force that is going to hold ground and also move out and hit hard. Do they have any like slow firing or overworked or just forward firing?
Just forward firing.
Right, okay.
Not great in assaults as normal with assault guns.
Yeah. These guys are tough. Let's see how the British list, which we'll go over and have a look at next, is going to fare against them. Here's the British list for today's game, folks. So it's just lots of tanks. One reason for that was, this is tournament prep, so I'm looking at a tournament type list. And whilst I really enjoy playing my Brits in historical matchups against Africa Corps and such likes, as far as tournament goes, I don't think they are particularly effective. And if you even look at the dynamic points perspective, Grants, Crusaders, Armour cars and so on, they haven't received any reduction in points. It's only the Shermans that have had the reductions, and things like priests, so certainly based on my collection, there's not going to be a particularly competitive, well-balanced list. But what have I got then? I've got a Crusader formation, Grant formation, some armour cars for support. And you can see they're pretty much maxed out. I think you maybe get slightly bigger formations, but certainly not in the Grants. You've got a HQ of 2, you could get another 1 tank in there, but 2 is a nice 100-point conclusion, shall we say. So HQ of 2 and 3 platoons of 3. And then the Crusaders HQ of 4, 2 of them being the 3-inch support, 2 of them being 2-pounders. Then 3 platoons, each with 2 6-pounders and a 2-pounder. And you can tell the way I've painted these by the way that the green camel blotches are the 2-pounders. 2 platoons of armoured cars, just because it's handy to have lots of careful small units running around doing tasks rather than shooting things up. If the opportunity arises that they can do that, then certainly the Daimler's got anti-tank 7 on the side of weaker armour. Otherwise, they're really just, for me anyway, for doing tasks during the game and shooting up infantry. So, is this competitive? In the right circumstances, yeah. I mean, if you can get it all on the table and just fly at the enemy, you're guaranteed to cause damage. But the platoons, they're small, they have poor last stands. So if you get one bailed and one destroyed, the chances are, if you don't get back in, chances are that platoon is a goner. You know, it's going to fail its last stand and leg it like on a 5-up. So, not necessarily the most competitive list, but it's a lot of stuff. If I get the right mission, they could be effective. Today's mission is Valley of Death, and Peter's going to be defending in this. Now you can see from this mission it's quite different from other ones in that the defender doesn't start on the objective. They've got to move towards the objective, and the attacker starting in a little box at one end. So terrain's very important in this mission. If you get good terrain as a defender, you could be on to a good one. If the terrain's not favourable, it could be very bad for you. Now, the special rules in this mission for the attacker is meeting engagement for that first turn, immediate reserves, and then for the defender, delayed and scattered reserves. So, I mean, I've played this mission 3 times now. Once as a defender, and in that game the terrain was terrible. Both ends of the table where the objectives would go, there was no cover at all. And needless to say, as I moved towards the objective, which you have to do really, because you can lose the game straight away if you lose the objective, got shot to bits. Other games, let me see, I played once as the attacker, and the reserves didn't start coming on until turn 3, and then they just dripped on. So I spent the entire game moving at dash speed to try and get down the table. So it's a game that can be very dependent on terrain, it can be very dependent on when reserves arrive for the attacker. And then once again, of course, for the defender, if the reserves arrive on the wrong side of the table, just like in many missions, you're kind of screwed. So, I'm not sure about this mission yet, folks. Maybe you can put your own thoughts down in the comments below. Valley of Death. Right, folks, we have deployed. Let's start with Peter's chosen this end to defend. Peter, I think it's probably because of the buildings, eh?
Yes. I've got 2 platoons of infantry.
They can get
I've not got any infantry or artillery, so I thought if I can get into the buildings close to the objective, then.
And the other option over here is good, quite good cover, but not so good an option for infantrymen.
Yeah.
So I put the objectives in this area here. I put one here and one here. They are close together. It's just the nature of this mission. So Peter could defend both of them quite easily. One's only approachable through the town, another one's approachable on the open side. Now Peter, what have you got on the table in reserves?
Okay, well, first of all, reserves, I've got 2 platoons of Zrinyis. That comes to 44 points, so they're in reserve. So what I've got on the table is 1 platoon of Zrinyis with the HQ, and then I've got all of the infantry formation plus the support. So I've got 1 infantry platoon over here, which hopefully will try and rush to here, and this one's going to try and run into here. I've got my 80mm artillery here and my mortars here, and then some 40mm anti-tank guns there.
And you be observer.
And oh yes, he's going to rush somewhere.
Right. So what have I done, folks? Well, this mission, you know, it's all about speed, and I don't like those in-race over there. I'm just hoping that the reserves are not going to come on over here, but I have spearheaded out to the side, basically. These guys can keep pressure on that flank, and then these guys can start a main thrust down here. there is 4 anti-tank guns to deal with down there. They can certainly kill armoured cars and they can kill them. I can roll well enough to lose front armour 5 against anti-tank 7 folks. But over that side it's probably best not to charge them, not initially, because I will have to deal with them. But the plan will be to get the Crusaders on, hopefully, charge up there, get around the flanks where the side armour is only 2, and maybe do a bit of damage. But there you go folks, it's a bit of a weird deployment for me. I don't think I've ever played a game where I haven't been in the deployment zone at the start. But this game requires that. Normally I don't spearhead because it normally just ends up, especially if you're defending. If you're attacking, it lets you move on a little bit, or in this case, it lets me move to the flanks a little bit. If I wanted to move on, I can maybe only get to about here, which isn't going to help in this mission, and just plant me right in the middle. And then where am I going from there? I'd rather, I think, try we hook around. So we'll clear up and come back for the first turn for the Brits. Turn 1. So British turn 1 starting step folks, there is going to be a roll for reserves. 3 ain't going to do it. British turn 1 movement. So what's going to happen here folks, there's not too many units even on the table. I'm going to hold on the bottom edge, hiding my Grants behind the hill, and the armoured cars are going to move off towards the other flank. I'm thinking I'm maybe going to try a push on the other flank, because a push on the bottom of the screen there would be suicidal. So on the other flank I'm just going to move using cover and keeping away from what I'm calling the line of death, which is 32 inches away from the Zrinyi on the hill. I'm going to move up with the Grants to get some shots on the anti-tank guns, maybe help clear that way, and the armoured cars are just going to move up and stay in cover. British turn 1 shooting. So remember folks, it's a meeting engagement, so if I had artillery I couldn't use it, planes couldn't come in, and my shooting would be moving rate of fire anyway. So I'm just moving up, as you can see over here. I'm going to have a go at these Hungarian anti-tank guns. Where's my tape going? Yes. Now, I want to check the range. Let's see.
20.
That's it, I'm going to start
24
with this, just for short range, the back platoon. So it's 3 dice from the 75mm. You guys are aggressive.
Yep.
Going to ground at short range, so I need 5s. Oh, 2 hits. And then 3 37mm, looking for 6s because of the secondary weapon. So just 2 hits.
2 hits.
So I'll put it on that guy at the end.
This one?
Yep, and then the one not quite there, in there yet.
Yeah.
So you can try mistaken target.
No, I'll just go for that.
Right.
Oh, the other guy.
2 and a 4, so 3 up firepower. Yep, so the end guy's away.
He's gone.
Right, so my other platoon, that may well have put me at long range now. Let me see. 1, 2. Right, the other platoon, 2 of them at short range.
Yep.
One's at long, so the short range. Oh, that's a cocked. That's 1 hit anyway.
1 hit.
Long range, no. Right, and then 2 37mm at short, so 1.
1.
No, I needed a 6. And then at long, I need a 7. No, so just 1 hit.
Wait,
One
which
that
one?
guy.
That guy.
Yep.
I'll try and pop it into him.
Right,
No. No.
so just a 3 up save, and you're fine. And that is going to be it for shooting folks. The other side of the table, as you see, I'm just keeping myself behind the hill. Hungarian turn 1 movement is all about getting the infantry towards the objective. So on the top of the screen there, it's a quite simple move. That's probably the easiest way of getting towards the objective. They can go straight through houses. With a bit of help from Follow Me there as well, means that they're already going to be covering that objective by the end of the first turn. Now the unit at the bottom of the screen is going to come around the back of the town rather than go directly through the more open terrain. He's going behind all that tall terrain, and he successfully gets a Follow Me, which helps push him on a little bit. The HQ is there, they don't do a Follow Me. Remember, Hungarians have actually got a better Follow Me rating because of the what do they call it, the Hussar rule possibly, but that's 2 infantry platoons moving off now to cover the objectives in good terrain and good cover themselves. Peter hasn't been tempted to advance his Zrinyis off the hill to advance the line of death towards my Grants. He's concerned about my Grants that are behind the other hill on the bottom edge of the table. With his side armour of 2, he could be in trouble even from my 37 mils. Hungarian turn 1 shooting?
Hungarian one, no shooting apart from going to try and put down a smoke bombardment.
Right.
With my...
Yeah, and they can see right down. The observer's on the move.
Yes.
And whoop, that house now. But your guns can see the end of that line.
Yeah, so they're just trained, so it'll be 4, up to 5. Oh, well, no, it's smoke, so...
Well, smoke, there's only a penalty for smoke if you decide to put it on terrain above the starting point, and also if there's smoke already there. So you're no worries there, so you're just going to need 4 up.
4 up, so first attempt.
That'll do it.
First attempt. Then we've got some... Or do you want to use yours?
No, if you've got smoke handy, that'll do it.
Let's just put it across here, so it's loads of it.
Now I've got a 10-inch tactical move. I'd have to go over the hedges, so there's still a chance I can get them, but they'll be very hard to hit. I think I'm too close to avoid it.
Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay.
Right, and is that going to be it?
That's going to be it, yes.
Turn 2. British starting step is just going to be reserves, folks. Oh, this is awful. In this mission, folks, you've got so far to go to get down the table. If you don't get your reserves on, they might not take any part in the game. Well, my guys at least move quite quick when they do come on, so at least one of them will be turning up next turn. British turn 2 movement. Well, these guys are all by their lonesome on this table here with no real idea of how to proceed, I have to be honest. So I'm just going to move up behind the smoke so that I can have another go at those anti-tank guns and maybe just clear them from my flank. And that'll be all the Grants are doing. The bottom edge of the table, they're just going to be staying put as a threat against the Zrinyis on the hill. The armoured cars are going to move up using the terrain to stay out a line of sight in the centre of the table. I've got to keep pushing up towards objectives. Armoured cars can maybe use a gone to ground or careful movement and so on. So they're just going to move up the middle, and I'll just have to try and figure out where to go from here, folks. British turn 2, so with that smoke bombardment being where it is, there's not going to be any shooting. I could get up here and keep myself in cover against them and maybe shoot one guy and potentially bail him out if he rolls a 1, so there's no point. Armour cars, as you can see, they've not got anything they can hurt, they're just keeping themselves safe. So that is it, folks. Without reserves, I don't have a critical mass, so I'm just going to push up. They've pushed up as much as they could. Next turn, I'm sure they're going to experience some pain from those anti-tank guns, but I can't shoot them back this turn. So very boring Romanian, very boring British turn 2. Hungarian turn 2 movement is all about the infantry again. The Zrinyis on the hill are just going to stay put. At the moment, remember, Peter is defending an objective here. He doesn't have to go after me and stick his neck into a noose. So he's going to stay back, protect his weak flanks and take advantage of his good range, anti-tank and his good frontal armour. So that leaves infantry to move up into the town. So the second platoon that is just arriving is getting into the buildings now, along with the HQ too.
Okay, Hungarian turn 2 shooting. The only shooting I'm going to be doing is I'm going to try another smoke bombardment from the mortars this time, using the observer over here. So that'll be a 4 again.
Yeah.
4, so.
That does it. So that's the smoke bombardment going down the same, more or less the same place?
Yes, no, I mean, you can get in there and do some damage, but that's roughly yeah. And that's going to be all. So
folks, if you guys need to take a minute, sit down and chill out because of the excitement levels here, I quite understand, but Sometimes the game just play out like that. Turn 3. Right folks, so it's British starting step for turn 3 reserves. Oh, 1. It's going to take all week to get them on at this rate, and remember folks, this is turn 3. I need to be up here and in a strong enough to hold within 8 inches of that by turn 6, or 8 inches of that by turn 6. So the reserves need to come on, so it's not looking very promising. British turn 2 movement starts off with the much heralded arrival of a platoon of reserves. Now I've brought on the Crusader HQ because they have artillery and I might need that. They've dashed up to that point because remember they're coming on from the back edge of the table, so that's they're so late to the party they're going to have to dash, which means no shooting from them this turn even if they were in range of anything. And meanwhile my armour cars are going to just do a little bit of jiggery pokery and gather behind a wood here so that I am ready to push forward in some way, potentially against the hill, but perhaps just to get within 8 inches of the objective outside the town. And my grants, well, they can't just sit about doing nothing folks, so I'm going to move up a bit so I can shoot, but also get 2, I can just squeeze 2 in there so that I can potentially do assaults against the flank of the anti-tank gun platoon. So British turn 3 shooting folks, so the grants are going to continue to pretend they're doing something. 2 are not in the smoke, they'll be using, this is Flames of War folks, it's a bit mental actually, I don't know if I can even do that. They would have to be, both of them would have to face that way.
To get the main gun?
Because you'd be behind the front then. Right, so the 2 of them are facing that way. 2 main guns are not in the smoke, we're looking for 5s. And then 2 37mm not in the smoke. No, they need 6s. So that's 1 so far, and then from the same platoon, 1 that's in the smoke. Nope, and then the 37mm, nope. Right, so that's 1 hit, so I want to put it on that guy over there.
This guy?
Yeah.
I'll try and swap it onto him. Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
He's fine. So the other platoon's shooting through smoke. That won't be a hit, and then the 37mm won't be a hit. So I'm going to try an assault, but I'm only going to I'll put 2 tanks in. I don't even know my side armour folks, it's been that long since I used these. I reckon I can do it in such a way that you're only going to have, my side armour's 4. I'm going to try and put 2 in. Right, so front guy, cross check. Oh well, right, so there's no assault. Now, I believe you still get defensive fire here because I attempted the assault.
But if nothing...
I still moved to contact, so imagine one of them did get in. Your defensive fire hits would splash onto the ones who also...
Are you sure you think?
I think so.
I think so.
So the way I'm putting it in though, it's going to... That's where contact would be, so you're only going to get that gun.
1 gun.
Yeah, 2 dice.
2 dice. And what are you?
You'll be hitting me on 4s.
4s.
Oh, for goodness sake. There's only 1 tank you can actually get the hits on, because one of them is starting behind your front.
Yeah.
So I'll 1. And can I roll that again? There's the other 2. 2 fast powers to kill.
It's 4 up for these guys.
Oh my goodness. He's dead. Folks, sometimes the numbers just are not going to go your way. That was a disaster.
Here we go.
So, right, okay, 1. So that was starting step, dice for reserves for the Hungarians. So, nothing this turn. So I think, at the very least, the anti-tank guns probably will be firing.
Yes.
Hungarian turn 3 movement. So, Peter's continuing to filter his infantry through the houses. 1 platoon's already in position. The later platoon is now in position, so he's got a platoon in 2 houses beside each objective, which is a very, very secure position against tanks attacking him. Now he's going to place the company HQ in one of the houses beside the road so that he can give motivations to both platoons should it be required. Elsewhere, well, there's nothing else really happening in terms of movement, folks. Like I said, he doesn't have to run out and get me, he's got to hold on to objectives.
Hungarian turn 3 shooting. They're not. Yes, Zrinyi's got one that can reach over here, so he's going to turn around to face him.
Right.
And it'll be very long range shot, concealed.
No, there's not concealment. Well, that's not concealed with the house.
Yeah.
Right, so he's a 6.
6. And, well, it's 2, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's a 6. Right, I need to get a 6 just to have a bail. No. So 5 power to kill. Oh, he's a bail. Oh, right.
So I think. Do I? So if they're in my front arc, I can turn round and.
Well, you turn to face. So, for instance, he's not an eligible target because he's behind your front arc. So you can't turn to face something. It's got to be eligible before you turn to face.
Does it need to be totally in the front arc?
If it's past anything's past the forward firing,
right?
Anything past it at all, then it's no longer an eligible target.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to be entirely past. It just has to be past the front line.
Mm-hmm.
So currently they could clobber one from that platoon,
yeah,
or they could go for that platoon. This is the one which has got bailed out, so he's vulnerable because the last stand's terrible.
I don't think they're going to fire. I think they're going to just hunker down and
right, be a block
and weather the storm. So the only other shooting would try and range in
with your artillery.
And
Okay.
there'll be 4s, 5s because of the terrain.
Just see where we're going for, folks. Right.
So first attempt. First attempt.
Right, so you'll be able to position that where you can get everybody. So roll for the first Humber.
First time.
That'll do it because it was the first attempt. That'll do it because it was the first attempt. And that'll do it because it was the first attempt. Right. And then roll for the wee dingo.
Dingo. Misses.
And then hit. So that Daimler at the end there rolls a 4.
It's actually 2.
Aye, but you can kill them because they're 0. First Humber, chance to bail them. Nope.
Nope.
Next Humber, chance to bail them. Last Humber, at least they saved.
So just one bail.
Yeah, but they need all their strength to pour around that wood, to be honest. You got a ranged hand marker handy?
Yeah.
Right, okay, so that's where that'll be fine.
And
Right.
That will be all my shooting.
Turn 4. British turn 4 start step. So, does he get back in? Yes. Does Mr. Grant get back in? Yes. Now, are those same numbers going to appear for my reserve rolls? Well,
Yes.
they did 2. I could have done with more, to be honest, but at least there's 2 more reserves coming on. But this is turn 4, folks. I've got to be up here next turn, effectively, because turn 6, I have to be in strength. Otherwise, a couple of tanks up there could get assaulted back, could get shot to bits by reserves coming on the flanks. So I fear the reserves are too late. British turn 4 movement. So first of all, the reserves are going to come up using the terrain. A dash move, of course, here, folks. They can at least dash 20 inches, these guys, and they're going to move up behind that terrain and just keep dashing, basically, to try and get towards the objective. Now, near the town, we were talking about this later, Peter missed an opportunity to just seal that town up completely against tanks just by placing the odd bases of infantry each side off the road on the way in, and that would have stopped me going through. As it is, I am going to place one of my grants up in the entrance to the town to try and keep that avenue open, and then decide what I'm going to do. Am I going to move through into the town and get within 8 inches of the objective there, or am I going to just move over to the more open objective, into the across the line of death, so to speak? So lots of decisions for me in that respect. But I think the most likely thing now is for me to just get those reserves up, hopefully get some more reserves up, and then push on towards the objective outside of the town and take the pain on the way in. British Turn 4 shooting, folks, so I'm going to start with artillery. Because of danger close, I can, if I range in, get 2 of those guns with my Crusaders down here. 3 ain't going to do it, 3 ain't going to do it, 2 ain't going to do it. So other shooting then, I think he, from this platoon, can see one of your guns, so I'll take a pot shot at it, see what I get. 37mm, no. Seem to be good at rolling 3s just now. This guy here, I'll have a go at the anti-tank guns. So, one hit from a 75 and one from a 37. I want to target the 75 outside.
Would that be a hit? 5, 3, 4, 5, and it doesn't get an extra one for the top gun, does it?
Sorry, I can't remember what I wrote now.
5, you roll 5
for the
top gun.
That'll be a missing, sorry. Right, so one hit, stick it on the guy outside the field.
I'll try and put him here. Nope, so...
Oh, he's fine. Right, okay, another platoon. Right.
So 3 hits.
And a 37mm. So what, you double up on the guy who's outside the field?
So that's the main guns, and then 137.
The 37 is a double up.
Oh, right. Well, can I swap?
Yep.
Right, yeah, so those 2 go there. So so this one. Looks possible. He's dead. Is he? Yes. So the big gun. Oof, he's dead. And then this guy.
And the 37mm was on the guy's the dead guy.
Yeah.
Right.
So another of your wee thingy bobs.
Yeah, I'll get one in a second. I'm just trying to think, is there any other shooting? That was incredibly frustrating way for both of us to see our platoon get shot up, folks. I think that's going to be it, really, for shooting. And there's not going to be any... And I'm going to try a shooting scoot with that guy there. I won. The reason I did that's because he's still showing his backside to Zrinyi over on the hill. So that is going to be it for shooting, folks. So
in turn 4?
Turn 4, sorry.
Starter step. So I've got these are pinned, so just unpin them. So they're unpinned, and see whether he hangs around.
Last stand.
Oh no, he's away.
And then you're going to have 2 dice for reserves.
Anything else? No, so 2 dice for reserve. Here we go. This is. No, very close, but no.
Hungarian turn 4, so Peter's just seen what the line of death looks like from that hill. He's not going to move though. He's going to put his mortars into the houses as well, just to bolster the defence there and potentially allow the infantry that are in those buildings to move forward. You know, the mortars can hold because they don't have any eligible targets, and then the infantry could be freed up to be more aggressive. I missed it from the overhead, folks, but a dash, and a dash. These are going to try and move up for direct anti-tank now.
What's this? Is shooting?
Yeah.
Hungarian turn 4 shooting. I'm not going to do much shooting. One tank here, one artillery is going to try and get that.
Right, so 5s.
5s.
Oh dear. Oh, if I could only roll above a 2, folks, so that's a chance to kill him.
So what? I just want to check what these are. It's a 4+.
Is it?
Yes.
For direct fire?
Yes. Oh no, 3.
Yeah, because it's an 8 now.
Yes, oh, sorry about that. Oh, but still, I only managed this. And then the tank that fired before at him.
Right, so that'll be a 6. 5. Just a 5.
5 for
concealment ain't going to come into it.
Oh dear.
Right, so I need a 6 for a bale just because it's long range. No. Oh, there's 2 of them, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. No. So 2 chances to kill him. He's a gunner.
Yeah, and then the HQ, the
HQ's moved.
And I don't think he's maybe on the hill. So
Well, he is. You're either on or off it. So.
Right, so.
Oh dear. Right, chance to kill. He's bailed. Is it the nearest one, eh?
Yeah, I couldn't reach them. And that's going to be me.
Right.
I think. Do I want to do a shooting scoop with these guys?
You can shoot and scoop him,
Yeah.
or the whole platoon if you just wanted to reposition them. Roll a dice, it often makes your mind up for you.
Oh.
Now you've got to think about it.
It's just maybe to wary of you sneaking up. So you would just turn round like that. Yeah, that's all.
Turn 5. British turn 5 starting step. So does that tank there get back in? I'd have to check, I'm not sure if it does, but his last stand is a runaway anyway. And does that one there get back in? I shall double check that, folks. I don't know if they've got protected ammo. We'll just say he's a wreck at the moment. And then that's it. So reserves, my last 2 platoons will arrive. British turn 5 movement, and there's nothing else for it now, folks, except charge. More dashing. That seems to be the most common move that I make in this mission, folks. 2 times I've played it now as the attacker, where I've just been dashing, not shooting at anything, just trying to get up towards the objectives with the late arriving platoons. But everything that was hiding behind those woods, behind that hill, they're now moving out. They're going to dash as much as possible, but the ones that are nearer that hill are going to be slowed by the Zrinyis, and then the reserves, they're going to dash on as well, and the Grants by the town, they're going to swing over to join them now. So British turn 5 movement, or shooting rather. Well, actually no, there's going to be a wee bit more movement. Something I forgot, but these guys don't actually have anybody in range. So let's see. To be able to. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Oh no, I do. I'm in range of that house. We're okay, folks. I'm actually going to be able to do some shooting. So I've got all this stuff on the table now, folks, and it's all having to dash to stay in the game. So the only shooting is going to be the close support and these guys. So artillery from the close. Oh wait a minute. Hold on a minute. Of course. They'll try smoke bombardment. Try and reduce the fire that's going to come in. So I can put it down where it's clear, and thankfully just one of those dice was successful. Have you got 4 markers?
Yeah, 4 markers.
Right, so let's clear it. You see that? Of course, that's not going to help if the reserves arrive right there.
Well, can I go on the table? I
don't think you can, no, but smoke. Right, so that leaves these guys shooting at that house. Did anybody move last time?
No, they are.
So looking for 5, going to use their cannons. Yeah. 1 save, there's no anti-tank rifle there that I can see, so.
Oh, possible.
No, it's fine. These guys will need a miracle to hit the observer, because I failed blitz. No. A 37. No. So, believe it or not, folks, that's the end of my shooting.
Turn 5, starting step. No morals, but just reserves. Here we go.
One's coming on, so it's going to be Zrinyi. So
yes, where is it?
Roll a dice. I can't quite remember. Hold on.
Oh, let's just roll.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3's over by me.
1.
Well, that's good. Hungarian turn 5 movement. Peter is just going to set himself up with a gun line beside the hill here. He's going to move his reserves on to join it, and then just present a line which is going to extend towards the objective next to the town, so a very strong defensive position for him. And he can also dish out some nasty anti-tank 11 this turn. And elsewhere, not much happening other than trying to get his artillery closer to the town for potential direct anti-tank fire.
Okay, so shooting. This could make or break. I think the platoon that just came on, he's going to shoot at these guys.
Right, okay, so the long range, looking for force.
One hit.
Right, so I'm going to try mistaken target. I do is to put it on this 2-pounder, so 5 power. He's a goner.
That's. I think this platoon will do the same target. Did any of them get? Oh well, there's a big pile of smoke there. So I think that with the one at the end can get a clear shot on this guy. That me?
Oh, aye, yeah, of course, there's some concealed there. Yeah, that guy's clear, the other ones
are not clear.
So 1 on a 4, 2 on a 5.
Right, so 1 on the 4, and then 2 on a 5.
So that's 2 5-pounds on one, and then 1 on another. Yeah, but that's what happens to Crusaders. They're very easily hit with no meaningful armour.
And then that leaves the HQ.
You can see this HQ.
Yeah, I think we'll go for that.
Right, so that'll be a 5.
5 through the hedge.
Yeah.
About 6 and maybe 6?
No, 5. Just 5, because the smoke's not coming into effect, it's just the concealment from the hedge.
Right. But at long range?
Yeah.
Right.
My guys are aggressive.
Right. No. And that will be all my shooting.
Right, folks, so I'm going to have to now dash another platoon up to replace them and watch them getting shot, and then dash another platoon up, but somehow be within 8 inches of that next turn, so it's not looking good. Turn 6. British turn 6 movement, so I've got to get within 8 inches of that objective, so I'm going to move my Humber armour cars up. I'm going to try and get the Grants that are coming across in a position to do some shooting. And then just got to try and figure out a plan here. You know, I have to keep the game alive, but I have to get around the side of those Zrinyis to stand any real chance of killing them, because even at short range I can only kill them if they roll a 1 for their save. So I've decided to put my 2 armour car platoons into the danger zone and then swing my armour around behind the hill, so that if Peter does stay to kill the armoured cars, it's going to be a gamble, folks. If he kills them, it's game over. But if he does stay and he doesn't, I even have 1 left alive by the end of my turn, then I can swing around that hill in numbers and get a mini side armour too. Forgot to capture it in the overhead, folks, but they've moved over to there. British turn 6 shooting, there's going to be very little, folks, because I can't stand in front of them, because I can't actually effectively hurt them. I've got to get in short range to stand a chance of killing them. Long range I can potentially bail them. So I really need to get around the side, but then they can just keep backing off. But I have to stay within 8 inches of that as well. So my Crusader support will try and range in on that house beside the objective. Well, they've ranged in. So how many guys are
whereabouts in there? Where is it? The whole house, just in the house?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it says...
Well, actually I could put it...
For the back?
Yeah, so I can maybe get a couple of guys in there as well.
So there's 5 ordinary guys in there, and then 1, 2, just get 2.
Ordinary guy and a
2, yeah, and then the
anti-tank rifle. Right, so roll for the anti-tank rifle first.
Threes, yep.
Well, the anti-tank rifle, roll 2 dice because I'm not. Another guy in that house, yes, because you're aggressive.
As we go, no.
That ain't going to do it. Right, and then how many guys in that
5.
house? 5. I'll just roll 5 dice and then re-roll hits. Oops, what's inside? Still outside.
So 2.
2. You're fine. Right, and then these two Daimlers are going to take pot shots at this platoon here. Oh no, I can't hurt you. They're not going to shoot. Right, so that means the only shooting that it's going to be then is going to be two tanks who can see one of your Zinris. One hit. So that attack 9 against your front armour 7.
7 kills.
Oof. So I've killed one.
Right.
Which is
smoke.
amazing. You got Ibis? You got any?
I've got a little bit. I don't, lost all my smoke, but have some smoke.
Right. So that's something. So at least you're going to have to move or pass a blitz to shoot back at them. And that's kind of it, folks. I'm not going to bother firing these at the house because I'd rather they stay caught to ground. They're within 8 inches of that. I need them to stay alive next turn.
But
And him or
he's within 8 as well.
yeah, or I've lost the game. When I say next turn, I mean the end of Peter's turn because he can now win the game in turn 6. These guys here, actually, they can go for the upstairs. Right, so there'll be 3 main guns. No, and then no, not from the 37s either. So that's it for my shooting, folks.
Both together. So Hungarian step, turn 6, starting step. So try and unpin this infantry platoon. Yeah.
And then the reserves. And a 1, 2, or 3, they're coming in. 4, 5, or 6. Yay.
Which dice? This is the one.
Roll high, Peter. You're always rolling high.
This is the chosen dice. 4. I did.
Yeah, you did roll high. Thank goodness for that. Hungarian turn 6 movement. So the only thing Peter's going to move here is his reserves. He's going to keep his gun line where it is and try and win the game this turn. Now this is where I realise that there's nowhere to hide. When his reserves come on and stared right down the road at my cars, I'm going, oh dear. But at least he's only going to have 3 dice and he'll need 5s to hit me.
Turn 6 shooting. Right. I'm gonna concentrate on this platoon. So.
Yeah, you start with them.
They've come in long range.
5s.
5s. So,
Oh, for goodness sake.
2 hits.
Oh, this is not happening, folks. Right, 2 firepowers.
Oh no!
They still don't count though. They bailed out.
But I have, but
You can still win the game. You just got to concentrate on them and kill a dingo. Right.
So. Is that? Are they all within 8? Is this one within 8?
They're all within 8.
He could have been. He could have been if he hadn't.
They're all within 8.
Yeah.
I'll check. There's 2 actually.
2. Yeah,
2 within 8. I should have done a follow for them when we talked about that. Right, so 2 there, 1 there.
Are they 2? Right. So I'm going to do an anti-tank rifle shot because you poo-pooed him. You poo-pooed it.
Right, on you go. I don't know if I like the sound of
It's
this.
20-inch range, and it's in fact 2.
Right, on you go.
shots. So is that 4s? 5s.
5 for range.
No, I've got 5. Okay.
Hold on a second, that's kind of hard for folks to see.
I'll roll again.
No. Oh, if you want to roll them again, aye, because they only got 2 hits.
Let's go for HQ.
Right, who's you want to shoot?
This guy here, the guy. It's
Right, they've got any ground, so you'll need 6s.
6s.
See, when I said you'll need 6s, it didn't mean actually roll one. I'm going to try mistaken target. Oh, for goodness sake, firepower.
So,
Nice, guys, indeed.
so everything else then is shooting at this platoon. Targeting those, well. I think he's got he concealed.
Who's not firing? They're all firing, eh? So you've got to start with them, they're in the open. 4 shots, looking for 4s. Right, 3 firepower, that's it, game over.
You think?
Oh, no, 100%. Because even if they're only bailed out, it's game over. Because I've nothing active. What a shame. The game was really just getting into...
Going.
Yeah. But there you go, we'll have to go over for a recap, folks. Right, folks, time for a recap. So, first of all, Peter, what did you think?
Yeah, it was. I think it was maybe. I think the terrain made it easy for myself because I think with these houses, next to the objective square wasn't very large, and you had to put next to the houses, and I've got infantry, so I can pile the infantry in there to protect them.
True, but in that respect, I only have actually just arrived at the objective.
Yes, I think that you not getting your reserves until turn 3 played a big part.
I've played this mission twice. Once as a defender, and in that game, both ends of the table had no terrain around the objective, so I lost that because my guys just had to stand there in the open and get shot. And both times I've played this as the attacker, I've had to just spend the entire game just doing dash moves up the table and not being able to shoot at anything. In this game I maybe could have done a wee bit of shooting, but I couldn't hurt them, so I had to dash up anyway. But I don't like this as a mission, folks. If you don't get your reserves on straight away, then you're just going to have to keep pushing them up, dash, 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 dash. Now, we were talking about this, me and Peter, about why did I not just stick all my stuff in here. First of all, I don't know if they all could have made it over within 8 inches. And secondly, I had to try and go for the win by going around the flank. And if I managed that, then there was a potential of maybe even breaking this formation. I thought these would have stood a chance of staying alive, but 2 out of 3 hits hit. That guy, even on a 6, managed to get a hit, so that wiped him out, which left him hanging with all those guys able to concentrate on them. So in the last game, Peter, your dice were terrible. In this game, you got revenge.
Oh, your dice were terrible.
Mine weren't great, but it was more down to your dice. You were just hitting. Over there, you were hitting me on 5s and 6s every time. You didn't get all your firepowers, but getting those hits was really good, because these guys these small platoons rely on not being hit, because once they're down to like a kill and a bail, they're on a 5 up or they're running away. So if they'd have survived, I'm always talking about me being 1 turn away from victory and so on, but if they'd have survived, I would have come around side armour 2.
Yes, 1 shell could go through all of them.
just about, and these guys, tactical 10, they'd be lined up, them 14, they could potentially even get behind with cross checks and whatever and so on. So it just never happened.
Well, the thing is, I can't take these to my tournament.
No, and I can see why, to be honest. Anti-tank 11, front armour 7 is pretty, even with the side armour 2, that is poor, and that would catch you out in maybe a different mission, but they are kind of Death Stars for mid-war. But I'm not saying they're overpowered, because in a different situation it may well have had a different outcome. It was just what happened there in that last turn, and then their weakness could have been exposed. So there you go, folks. At least you got to see the super duper Zrinyis, and you'll be glad if you go to the Nationals, you're not going to see them when you're there. So that's it anyway, Peter. You got your revenge after the last game, which I think was due, because your dice were absolutely awful in the last one. And, well...
No, I think I was stacked up against you, I think.
That one turn did it. I think. But I had to go for the win.
Yeah.
But anyway, there you go, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed it, even though it just fell off a cliff at the end there. Turn 6 is vital in the game, so you have to plan for it. But hopefully you enjoyed it. Anyway, that's us. Thanks for watching. As always, thanks for subscribing. And if you'd like to do so, hit that subscribe button and the bell button, which means we'll definitely see you all on the next one. British turn 1 summary. So 1 dice for reserves, but not coming in. So in terms of movement, these guys have moved behind the hill in a position to get a successful blitz to try and do some shooting, but this is a holding force. They have moved over after having done the spearhead, and then over here they all moved up tactically. They just stashed around so they could get some shots off, and they managed to get a few hits there. These guys are not too hard to hit because they're only aggressive, but one 40mm, is it 40mm, Peter? 40mm succumbed to a 75mm hit, but they're not pinned. So that's it for the British turn 1.
Okay, so what I've done, both infantry platoons are trying to move in towards the objectives.
And you've got in here and here.
In here and here, with the help of follow me over here. They dashed with a follow me here. The HQ didn't get a follow me. My observer moved into here. And then
and here you're staying put.
Stay put there just to see what happens. I can't reach. I've not got the range to get over there.
And even if you couldn't move off any range, you might expose
this flank.
The two side armour.
Mm-hmm. So we'll do that. Shooting wise, all I did was to put a smoke bombardment down here to try and keep these alive for a bit longer.
And that was from the 80 mils.
Yes, that was the artillery.
So that's it for Hungarian turn 1?
Yes.
British 2-turn summary, so no reserves again, folks, unfortunately, which means I can't really get any mass on the table, maybe to go up and start attacking those guys. So they're staying put. These armoured cars have moved up. They've come across. Over here, because of the smoke, they're not really going to get in a position to do any shooting without risking cross checks or whatever. This game I need to keep moving forward. So they've moved up, dashed up, whatever. They can't shoot for either reason because of the smoke or the dash against the guys. So that's it, folks. Nothing from me at all. Go.
Okay, turn somebody. Movement. This platoon is carry on its movement, trying to get into these buildings to protect that.
And they've currently got them. Is it in there plus HQ?
HQ, yep, in there. That was all the movement. These guys are staying where they are. As of these, and then the only shooting I was doing, used the mortars to put down another smoke bombardment to try and prolong their life.
Yeah, because your guns there are anti-tank 7 against my front armour 5.
Yeah.
You could kill them, could bail them, but you just want to keep them alive.
Right, yes, they're more of a threat at the moment, I think, any danger to you.
British turn 3 turn summary. So, first of all, for reserves, 3 dice rolled, 1 coming on, folks. I've still got 4 platoons that are not on the table yet. So, it's going to be very challenging now, I think, folks. That's what came on. That's the HQ for the Crusaders. I brought them on because I've got artillery. In terms of other movement, these guys are bunched up behind this wood. They're gathering their strength so they can move out en masse. Over here, I moved as well as I could, getting some past the smoke, but not many could, and I didn't get any hits. Most of them were firing through smoke against gone to ground aggressive guys needing 6s or 7s for the 37 mils, so it wasn't a big chance. So I thought I'm going to try to do an assault. I might as well. I can get one tank into the flank with no defensive fire, just hitting this one here, another one with defensive fire just from that gun because it would also be in the flank. They both failed to get over they both rolled a 1 to get over the hedge, and then as we understand the rules, I launched an assault. Even though I did not get in, I still launched an assault. So defensive fire from that one gun could only hit him, but hit him twice, and I rolled a 1 and a 2 from a save against anti-tank 7 against side armour 4. So I had a chance to save, failed. He's dead. They never even got over the hedge, folks. So over to the Hungarians for their turn 3 when they're going to start to roll for reserves.
Hungarian turn 3. Failed to get reserves with the first roll. Movement. I just moved this platoon further into the houses there.
And you put your HQ,
yes,
so you could give rerolls to both platoons.
There, and my mortars just moved up here. They can hide. That was all movement. Shooting. I tried out one Zrinyi to try and get a Lee over here. A grant. These are grants. And managed to bail this guy. These guys didn't shoot just to try and prolong their life a bit longer. And then I ranged in on the recon there and managed to get 1 bail. And that was it.
Right, folks, so next turn will be 2 dice for reserves for these death dealers coming on. British, turn 4. So, starting step, first of all, the remounts were okay. 2 remounts. Then in terms of reserves, 4 dice rolled, 2 coming on. So I brought on the HQ for the Grants and a platoon of Crusaders. And then in terms of movement, my HQ for the Crusaders has come over to here. They've stayed put. And then one tank is moved to look into the square. The other one from that platoon, still in command, stayed put. And then I just stayed put there to do some shooting. Tried to range in with these guys needing a 5, but never got above a 3. Try to get those guns. These had to go. They eventually managed to get 2 guns, but obviously it takes some poor saving throws from gun teams for that to happen, because they've got a 3-up save, but 2 of the bases died. There's 1 left. He'll be on the last stand. I stayed put in to kill them because I didn't want them bothering me on the side, and it was a bit too early for me necessarily to moving into this square. It's absolutely full of infantry. So it's probably not a very likely place for me to even stay in, but I didn't want to move up into the square and just leave them behind me, especially because reserves could arrive here and then just shoot me with their, what effectively are at this level laser cannons with anti-tank 11. So I'll definitely get 1 more of my remaining reserves next turn, but then I'll be able to, next turn I'll be making a move, folks, so there will at least be something happening from me.
Okay, Hungarian turn 4, turn summary, movement, what did I do? Starting step, I managed to unpin the anti-tank guns, but they didn't stay around. You feel his sole survivor test. Movement, I moved the HQ around here to get a shot over here, and I moved 3 of the guns. They dashed over to try and hopefully maybe get shots at any tanks that appear in there, and then the one that didn't move returned fire on this guy and managed to get a bail. I think I failed my firepower, didn't I?
Yeah, but your anti-tank 8 against my front armour 5, but...
So, and then shooting this guy here, did a repeat shot at this guy and managed to kill him.
Yeah, 2 hits.
And then the HQ who moved around here got 1 shot and managed to bail out this tank.
I was hoping that being careful would make me hard to hit, but so far it isn't.
And then I did a wee
just
scoot here just to
protect his flank against the probable attack coming from here.
Yeah.
British turn 5, so starting with motivations, both the bailed Grants got back in, but that survivor legged it. In terms of reserves, I think there was all the remaining stuff in, they're all over here. In terms of movement, let's start over here. They guys tried a blitz to get out with 8 inches of him, so they could dash around here. They failed it, so they just tactically moved. These have all dashed on. Failed to follow me. I didn't try to follow me for them because I don't want them starting on the hill, because they're going to dash again next turn, folks, unless reserves come all the way over here. And I don't want them dashing on the hill. I'd rather they got the full 20-inch dash around it rather than a 14-inch dash from it. Everything else is dashed up, with the exception of them. They just did a wee tactical. So in terms of shooting, all this stuff is on the table, folks, but in terms of shooting, all it was a smoke bombardment, and which was successful, I'm glad to say, and them getting 1 hit on a guy in there who passed his save. So 3 dice for reserves for the Hungarians next turn. Something's coming on. It's going to be more of these Death Star Zinris. Question is, where?
Okay, so that was German turn 5, was it?
Yes.
So
Hungarian.
So I did get 1 reserve on, and they came on over in that flank. So what I did, I shuffled all these tanks round just to try and prevent them getting in any side shots. And then these guns tried to move up a bit further just to try and protect this if anything came close enough. Shooting, I was concentrating in this platoon and managed to kill all 3 of them. And then HQ tried to shoot the HQ but failed.
We forgot to do the summary, folks. Sometimes that happens. So ignore all this. These were not here when they were shooting there. So British turn 6, critical turn 6, folks. This is where the defender can win the game. In terms of motivations, there was nothing. So straight onto movement. These guys tactically moved to here. They moved up to within 8 of that, as did these guys. And then here it's just dash, 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 dash. They didn't dash, but they kept themselves, because they're only anti-tank 7, front armour 7, just kept themselves behind the crest of the hill. They tried to do a follow me, didn't work. The guys did work. So there's another big chunk of armour there. These guys moved up tactically. They actually managed to kill one. The only thing that could have killed it was a roll of 1, so Peter obliged. They, as I said, can't hurt, so they're just not going to bother shooting. They could shoot the infantry, but I thought, no, just going to keep them where they're going to ground. The guys fired at the house, didn't get any hits, so that just left the close support, who managed to get a hit, a fail save, but no kill against these. But they are pinned, that might help. So one more reserve is definitely coming on. The question is it here, or is it all the way over there? You know what I'm hoping for?
Okay, so starting step, I unpinned the infantry in here, and then I got reserve. Last reserves came on here, and moved up here. That was all the movement. I was concentrating and trying to get rid of these 2 platoons. So they managed to bail.
Well, they got 2 hits out of 3 on 5, so that's good shooting.
But only managed to bail 2 of them, and then the HQ managed to kill the last one.
On a 6.
And then everything else
slaughtered in. They're dead, folks. They all bailed out. But that's end of game.
Failed.
Right, folks, time for a recap. So, first of all, Peter, what did you think?
Yeah, it was. I think it was maybe. I think the terrain made it easy for myself, because I think with these houses next to the objective square wasn't very large, and you had to put next to the houses, and I've got infantry, so I can pile the infantry in there to protect them.
True, but in that respect, I only have actually just arrived at the objective.
Yes, I think that you not getting your reserves until turn 3 played a big part.
I've played this mission twice. Once as a defender, and in that game, both ends of the table had no terrain around the objective, so I lost that because my guys just had to stand there in the open and get shot. And both times I've played this as the attacker, I've had to just spend the entire game just doing dash moves up the table and not being able to shoot at anything. In this game I maybe could have done a wee bit of shooting, but I couldn't hurt them, so I had to dash up anyway. But I don't like this as a mission, folks. If you don't get your reserves on straight away, then you're just going to have to keep pushing them up, dash, 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 dash. Now, we were talking about this, me and Peter, about why did I not just stick all my stuff in here. First of all, I don't know if they all could have made it over within 8 inches. And secondly, I had to try and go for the win by going around the flank. And if I'd managed that, then there was a potential of maybe even breaking this formation. I thought these would have stood a chance of staying alive, but 2 out of 3 hits hit. That guy, even on a 6, managed to get a hit, so that wiped him out, which left him hanging with all those guys able to concentrate on them. So in the last game, Peter, your dice were terrible. In this game, you got revenge.
Oh, your dice were terrible.
Mine weren't great, but it was more down to your dice. You were just hitting. Over there, you were hitting me on 5s and 6s every time. You didn't get all your firepowers, but getting those hits was really good, because these guys these small platoons rely on not being hit, because once they're down to like a kill and a bail, they're on a 5 up or they're running away. So if they'd have survived, I'm always talking about me being 1 turn away from victory and so on, but if they'd have survived, I would have come around side armour 2.
Yes, 1 shell could go through all of them.
just about, and these guys, tactical 10, they'd be lined up, them 14, they could potentially even get behind with cross checks and whatever and so on. So it just never happened.
Well, the thing is, I can't take these to my tournament.
No, and I can see why, to be honest. Anti-tank 11, front armour 7 is pretty, even with the side armour 2, that is poor, and that would catch you out in maybe a different mission. But they are kind of Death Stars for mid-war. But I'm not saying they're overpowered, because in a different situation it may well have had a different outcome. It was just what happened there in that last turn, and then their weakness could have been exposed. So there you go, folks. At least you got to see the super duper Zrinyis. and you'd be glad if you go to the Nationals, you're not going to see them when you're there. So that's it. Anyway, Peter, you got your revenge after the last game, which I think was due, because your days were absolutely awful in the last one. And, well...
No, I think I was stacked up against you, I think.
That one turn did it. That one turn did it, I think. But I had to go for the win.
Yeah.
But anyway, there you go, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed it, even though it just fell off a cliff at the end there. Turn 6 is vital in the game, so you got to plan for it. But hopefully you enjoyed it. Anyway, that's us. Thanks for watching. As always, thanks for subscribing. And if you'd like to do so, hit that subscribe button and the bell button, which means we'll definitely see you all in the next one.